Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the X-Pound's newest monthly show, Franchised. I am James Phoenix. That's right. I am not Marcus Shadow.
Woo!
Thank you. Now, the bad news, he is still here.
Boo! Hi.
Marcus Shadow does not have much of a voice tonight due to a sore throat, so I'm going to handle the hosting duties.
Yes! Fuck you.
Yes.
No!
Mm-hmm.
I'm our audience because I don't have a crowd button.
Nice. Fair enough.
We want Pew!
Yay!
Woo!
Just one voice at the back. We want Pew!
Somebody throws the money in the bank briefcase, hits him in the head, and knocks him out. But yes, this is Franchise, the monthly show where we take a look at a given franchise, and we discuss the things that we like and don't like about that franchise. Today's franchise, in honor of the recently passed October 21st, 30th anniversary of the original film, and the year that they went to in the second film, we're going to do Back to the Future. Joining me, as you heard around, we do have the usual host, Marcus Shadow is here, from the Mole Hole, Chris the Mole, and from Pew Pew Productions, Anastasia Lazerbeam.
Yo.
It is on. Yay.
But is it like Donkey Kong?
No, it is not.
Fair enough.
It is on like Diddy Kong Racing.
Sorta, kinda, like just a little bit.
Was Diddy Kong Racing ever on?
Yes, it was on N64 and it was awesome.
It was alright.
Okay then.
It was awesome. It was actually better than the Mario Kart that year.
Well, it should have been. The Mario Kart that year had like the most ridiculous fucking rainbow road that's ever existed.
True, but I will say Diddy Kong Racing was actually so good. Fun fact, a lot of the stuff from it later on went into the Mario Kart series and the games people say are awesome.
Nice. Oh, is that how we got banana peels?
No.
Oh. Fair enough.
So, yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, that's my choice.
I agree. But no, yeah, we're going to start off with our things that we do not like about Back to the Future aspects of the franchise, and then we're going to move into aspects that we do like. So, who would like to go first? Okay, I guess I will. So, aspect that I don't like, and I made the really bad mistake of purchasing this not that long ago, although I don't know what I did with it. But I went the Back to the Future video game on the NES. Other than the fact that you kind of look like Marty McFly, that game has nothing to do with Back to the Future whatsoever. I mean, there's a couple of mini games where you allow you're in the bar or whatever, the milkshake bar or whatever, big deal. You're running around on a skateboard, you're collecting clocks, trying to pause time, and the picture's fading as time goes by, and then you're,
It's Paperboy. Shut up. Just Paperboy.
Pretty much, it's basically Paperboy. Yes, it's Paperboy with a Back to the Future skin on it, and it's like, no, this is not a good game. Why would you make this?
Barely, it's just Paperboy, and not even so much as skin.
Fair enough. So yeah, that's mine. I don't like that game, and I'm kind of glad I lost it, and wish I hadn't made a mistake of buying it in the first place.
Oh, sad Jim. Leather.
So, who's next?
Mine
All right.
comes from the very recent stuff.
Ooh.
Back to the Future Day. Because Back to the Future Day was a way for some self-righteous pricks who most of the other time of the year didn't give a shit about Back to the Future to suddenly claim they did. To the point, even our Prime Minister was making Back to the Future references during the House of Commons. No. You have stuff like that going on. It's like, no. You have people who, like, what was it, like 6 months ago when people were making Back to the Future comments was like, oh, you're a nerd on their TV shows doing Back to the Future specials. You have people who don't really care about Back to the Future wearing the T-shirts now because it was Back to the Future Day. Oh, let's watch that on ITV because it's Back to the Future Day. Oh, look, it's Back to the Future Day. No, fuck off. You either like the film or you don't. You don't need a whole fucking day around it because why the fuck do you need a whole day around liking a film? It's a fucking film. Get over it. Thank you.
Fair enough.
I can kind of agree with that.
As a negative, my Back to the Future pop vinyl Doc Brown was missing the tops of what do you call it? When you connect the things to the batteries or whatever, you have like the metal bits on the end. It was missing that. It was broke off in the loot crate, so it was like a factory defect one.
Did you return it?
It's a loot crate. I'm not gonna send. I can send it back to loot crate. I let them know, and they're like, oh well, we can't do anything.
So metal
Really?
what things? What?
Really? They have a thing on their webpage that says any items that are not up to standard, you can send it back.
Fair enough.
I guess I'll send them another message. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
I presume that came in the time box.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it came in the box of villains,
Ha! Fair enough.
No, you should totally be able to, swap that out if it was like a factory defect type thing.
Agreed. Although I'm still curious why Doc Brown had metal things sticking out of him.
No,
It's the
like
connectors for the batteries, Jim.
Yeah, like the metal parts of the metal bits to the connecting battery, the metal pits broke off.
It has a battery?
When your car is dead and you need to connect your cables to somebody else's
Oh,
battery.
the ones you're using in the movie. Oh.
Yeah.
You could have said that. Fair enough.
Well, I guess I thought power cable wires.
We're talking about now they sent to the car battery. I'm like, P, we're talking Back to the Future, not what you do in the bedroom.
I don't fucking use electricity and wires. What kind of fucking lonely ass shit do you do?
To be fair, you're never lonely if you're using car battery and wires to electrocute other people for sexual gratification because you need someone else around to hear the said safe word. Thank you.
There is logic in what he says.
You need some weird shit, man. You need help.
Hey, I was just helping educate.
The more you know. Dun, dun, dun. But anyway, yeah, so that was Pew's Marcus Shadow. I think you're last from the negatives.
Well, since we mentioned logic, my negative is the lack of logic in these movies. Like, although wibbly wobbly timey wimey, but still, it's like, you could have had a little more common sense. You could have had
How so?
a little bit more logic and actually explain stuff as opposed to, wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
No, actually, Doc Brown spent an inordinate amount of time explaining exactly how shit worked.
And yet shit still didn't work the way it was supposed to.
Actually,
Like, the first movie was okay, but as the movies progressed, it was like, no, that's not how this shit works.
Generally speaking, they didn't work. Well, what? Give me something specific, because I can't think of anything that didn't really work.
Like, the fact that they'd never really expounded upon anything about, like, parallel dimensions or anything like that, when that's exactly what was happening. The fact that it's been proven, although maybe not at the time, but it's been proven that you can't really affect the past. If you change the past, you create an alternate future. You don't actually change yours.
Actually, they did show that, because in the second movie, when they were in Hell Valley, as it's colloquially referred to, Doc Brown, in his crapped-up garage, specifically picks up a half-broken chalkboard and spends at least 5 minutes explaining to Marty that Biff somehow in the future got the almanac, went back to some point in the past, and skewed the timeline into this tangent, creating an alternate 1985, where Biff is rich and powerful and married to your mother.
Yep, that's why they had to go back to that point, because that was the only shared point, and then they could use that point to go forward back to their original timeline.
Right,
but they did express that heavily, Marcus, and it was at least 20, 30 minutes explanation.
Okay, I don't know, maybe
Because Marty's first reaction was, all right, we'll go back to the future, we'll stop old Biff stealing the time machine. Marty, we can't, because if we go to the future from this point in time, it'll be the future of this reality. Our only hope of fixing this mess is in the past, at the point at which Biff got his hands on that sports almanac. Great Scott!
Yeah, but they're all like talking about restoring the timeline. It's like there's nothing to restore. Just shunt over to your reality.
They're restoring the timeline that they know.
Yeah.
What they consider from their perspective to be the normal timeline.
Yeah, well, because what they consider to be timeline prime or whatever, their
Timeline
particular
A,
one.
yeah.
That's what they're trying to restore. It's like, for example, in most shows, whenever there's an alternate universe, in anything, the people who discover it always refer to that one as like number 2 or B or something like that because they always consider their one to be the real reality.
Yeah, that's just like if you're in the Federation, you're not going to go to the mirror universe and call that the real universe. No, that's the mirror universe. That's different. This is the real universe.
Right. But you don't have to restore. That's my point. Is that in this movie, it seemed like they were actually changing their past because they had to restore their timeline. Which, if you look at anything else that has to do with time travel, there's never a restoration. It's just alternate. You look at Star Trek. Like you said, hey, mirror universe. It's not like once they got shunted to the mirror universe, they had to restore their universe. No, it was always there. They just went back.
But here's where you're making the mistake. Various films and TV shows to do with time travel. Here's the thing. Time travel's not a real thing. Each one has different rules. And Back to the Future created its own rules, told you its own rules, and obeyed its own rules. That's all you want from it. It's not it's like you mentioned Star Trek. Star Trek have broke its own rules before now. Terminator's broke its own rules. At least Back to the Future maintained its rules. That's a good thing. That's pro logic.
It still confused the hell out of me because I didn't understand its rules because it didn't make any sense. Because you shouldn't be able to alter your timeline. There should be nothing to restore if this is an alternate future. If you have to restore what was there before, then this is not an alternate future. This is the future, and you've changed it.
Yeah, they changed the future, and they were restoring what they knew to be the future.
Yeah,
basically, the other future could theoretically exist on this other point. So even though I get what you're saying, like this is what the is and now, the other future still kind of exists in the potential that we could change it.
Yeah, and they were trying to restore it back to how it was originally because
It's not like both are going at the same time.
Yeah, and they were trying to restore it to what it originally was because, like they mentioned, A, it's their timeline, but B, it was also affecting their lives because people were starting to disappear and stuff as a result. They wanted to get it back, so what they did was go to that point and stop what changed time, so therefore time went exactly as it was supposed to. Minus some hiccups, which, because they altered the timeline, there is some changes when they get back as well. That's perfect logic.
Man, it still confused the hell out of me, and I didn't like. I didn't like that I got that. I didn't like that I got that confused, and I was just like, too much thinking. But yeah, that's my
gimmick.
That's my negative. I was just like, it was a cool concept. It was just.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry if you're too finding it too hard to think and you don't want to think when you're watching a time travel film. I believe Adam Sandler has done time travel films. They are available now.
Ouch.
Did he?
Technically, click. He does rewind time.
That's true. He got and he's for the future, and then he gets shot back to the present when Christopher Walken decides to not be a dick.
Plus, I wasn't sure if he appeared in Hot Tub Time Machine as cameos or anything, because that looked really terrible. I didn't watch it, but plus, I'm assuming other stuff he's been in. One of them's going to have time travel.
Mm.
He's been in everything.
Mm.
Something definitely involves Horrible Pixel.
Mm. Fair enough. So those are our negative things. Now we're going to go round robin and we're going to talk a little about the positive things that we like about the franchise. We'll just keep the same order going, so I'll go first. And things that I really like about the franchise, I'm going to go with Back to the Future Part 2, that whole movie, because I like Part 2 best of the three personally. Is it the best made? No, but I like it. And I like it primarily, ironically, for the exact opposite, for the reason that Marcus doesn't like it. Sort of, and it's because, yeah, okay, the first movie, time machine. Marty goes back in time. It was a lot about, it was about, okay, Marty accidentally prevents his parents from meeting. He's got to fix the time machine, yada, yada, yada. There's some basics there. Part 2 had a lot more time travel in it, and it was a lot more about the, oh, this is what happens. This is what happens when you time travel. You do this, and that. This is how the changes happen. This is how you want to do the changes. They're going all kinds of different time periods. They're looping back on themselves in the original time period of 1955, which was awesome to see. The way they reshot that and did everything. I just thought there was a lot more going on, a lot more time, a lot more time traveling, a lot more explanation of the time travel physics. And I felt that it was a more active movie that, it kept going. So there was some lulls in the first movie where it's like, okay, relaxing it, we're calming it down a little bit, so on and so forth. Whereas this one was, it was also a lot more about those, the parents and the other. Whereas I think this was more about Doc and Marty. They're time traveling. They're trying to fix time. There seemed to be more stakes because, okay, yeah, Marty was going to get away from existence, which is still a big stake. But in this case, it's not just one person getting away from existence. It's everybody's existence is being completely changed. And that kind of was a really big. They all look at big evil rich Biff, who is the best Biff, by the way.
Is this the one where they go back in time to get his parents hitched?
That's the first one.
That's the first one. Okay, I can never keep straight which one is which.
Okay, the first movie, Marty goes back in time, accidentally stops his parents from meeting.
Right.
Has to get them back together, and has to get a lightning bolt to strike the DeLorean so he can get home. The second movie,
Doc the one in the future?
Yeah, Marty and Jennifer go to the future.
That's the one with the hoverboard. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, while they're in the future, Biff steals the time machine and a sports almanac that Marty had purchased and threw away. Goes back to 55, gives it to himself, creates an alternate timeline where he's rich and powerful because he won all the sporting bets.
Right.
And then Marty and Doc have to go back to 1955, the same day that the enchantment of the sea dance happened in the first movie, which they reshot that whole thing, which is incredibly impressive. And he had to get the almanac back without being seen by his parents or his other self.
Right, I remember
Doc tried to fix the broken time circuits on the DeLorean.
Mm-hmm.
See, I actually thought the second movie was probably the weakest. I thought it was, too busy.
See, again, I kind of liked it because of that, because there was a lot of stuff going on. I kind of enjoyed that.
See,
my favorites are the first and the third.
See, I didn't like the third one that much because that was one where they kind of broke their rules, but it's like, oh,
how do you figure?
Because we can't mess with time, Marty. We have to restore time to the way it was, blah, blah, blah. Third one, fuck that, I'm in love, fuck time. Like, wait, what, Doc?
Yeah, but when he takes himself out of time so he won't affect it by constantly moving on the train, therefore, with his family and stuff, therefore he's not going to make a paradox, he's not going to alter time because he found out what happened to her, she was meant to disappear at that point, therefore she's disappeared at that point, he can have love and he can have the best of both worlds because it's affecting nothing by existing outside of time.
Pretty much. Because the purpose of that third film, what they did to have fun with it, is you got to think of the third film from the perspective of the previous two. What is the dynamic of the first two movies? It's, okay, Marty gets thrown back in time, he's trying to get home. He's acting, he's emotional, he's acting irrational, he's, not thinking straight. He's going with gut instincts. Doc is being intelligent. Doc is keeping Marty on the straight. Doc is reminding him what's at stake. Doc is making sure that things get done because it's the right thing to do. Second movie, same basic premise. Marty is concerned about Jennifer, wants to get home to Jennifer because he loves Jennifer. He's trying to get home. Doc's keeping him straight. Doc's saying we got to fix time. We got to do this and this to fix time. I'm going to do this. Marty, don't get caught up in this. We got to fix yada, yada, yada. The third movie, they swap the dynamic around. Now, Doc is the one who's lovesick. Doc is the one who's thinking irrationally. Doc is the one who's doing things that he wouldn't normally do. Marty now, being in the Old West and being concerned, Marty's now the one who's concerned about getting the DeLorean working, getting a way to get it to 88 miles an hour, finding a way to get back home because they don't belong there. They've swapped their roles, and that was what was unique about that point of the film, is they literally swapped what their characters were normally doing in the film, the character roles, and they symbolize this during the scene where they find the gravestone, the grave marker that Marty brought the photo of back with him at the shop of the funeral director caretaker guy and the suit measurer guy, and he's got the tombstone that's in the photo. And they're standing there looking at it, talking about the photo, and Doc makes the point to Marty that the photo's erased, but the tombstone is still here. That means this could still be somebody's tombstone, Marty, and it might not be mine. For all we know, it could be yours. Whoa, Doc, this is it. Whoa, Doc. All right, he goes, great Scott. I know, Marty, it's heavy. They even swapped catchphrases to drive home the point that they've kind of swapped their character roles for that movie, and that was why it was kind of unique that way. And that was kind of why Doc had, he was acting irrationally because of love, because that was how Marty acted in the first two, and they changed it up a little bit. Another running theory that I have seen is the idea, especially when Doc built the time train and everything, the other theory is that with everything going on, depending on, what Doc had done in studying and everything, that Doc had come to the realization that the universe was strong enough to correct itself to prevent paradoxes from happening because of the potential destruction, and that the inherentness of the universe would correct it to prevent that from happening no matter what he did, and that he had been doing a lot of worrying for nothing. As a scientist, he might have come to the realization that the risk wasn't as great as he thought it was because of the universe's ability to self-correct, which is why he had no problem building the training going outside of time, because that took him out of the way and his family, so they existed outside of time and could be happy together without affecting history. But at the same time, he knew that having the train and time traveling was not going to be as big of a deal as he had made it out to be to Marty earlier. So that's another running theory that some people believe.
No.
Which is disproven by the Telltale game.
Fair enough.
Which was written by which was helped to be written.
Bob Gale wrote it, I know. Yeah.
And they should know.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
That's another positive. The Telltale game was really fun.
It was fun.
It was. Is anybody going to buy the HD remake on PS4?
It's not a HD remake.
It's not? Well, I guess it was an HD before, wasn't it? Fair enough.
It would be nice to have them all on one disc, so maybe.
I may, since
I have them all on one disc. I bought the PS3 disc. I'm considering whether to get the PS4 one.
And
supposedly there's some extra interviews and stuff with Bob Gale on there too, so that's kind of cool.
I was going to say, my favourite of the stuff to do with Back to the Future is Back to the Future, and that's it, the first one.
Fair enough.
I thought the second one and the third one just overall had weaker casts. Like the first one having like Crispin Glover, the original Jennifer and stuff, it was better. It was just overall better. And plus, the idea of, I want to find out what my parents were like when they were teenagers. Would they be friends with me? Would they like me? What would they like? Are they actually as strict as they are now and stuff? That's very relatable that anyone can relate to, and there's always going to be a story there. The second and third one, it's sort of lost that element of relatability. And I just thought the first one was really beautifully directed, and everything about the first one's just wonderful. The second one is better than the third one, but overall, the third. I just really like the first one. I just think that's probably the best they've done.
And that's certainly easy to argue. I certainly understand that. I mean, they put so much effort into that. I mean, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis fought for years to get a studio to produce their film after they came up with the idea together, and it was all by a lot of sheer coincidences of fate that they were able to even pull it off and get the film made. And so, and the fact that it became one of the highest-grossing movies of that year, and definitely Universal's highest-grossing movie of that year, was just an unexpected shock. And to truth be told, they didn't really want to do sequels in the first place, but the studio basically heavily implied that with the financial success, they heavily implied to Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis that they were going to make a sequel with or without them, but they'd really rather do it with them. And so Gale and Zemeckis said, well, if the sequel's going to get made anyway, we might as well stay on board. Let's actually expand the characters, develop them more. Because if too many sequels are just a rehash of the first one, they said, let's actually continue the story. Let's do some new stuff. Let's actually make these good. Rather than walking away and letting them be shit and ruin our, retroactively ruin the first one.
And I will also say the first one, Jim, is definitely better than the one you chose for one reason.
Mm-hmm.
No stunt people almost died in the making of my one.
That is true.
In your face, I've used your own little fun fact against you. Mm-hmm.
That is true. That is true. Yes, for those that are unaware.
Everyone's aware. It's been brought up in multiple podcasts.
Has it? Okay.
I thought, we've mentioned it in multiple, and we kept making jokes about it.
Fair enough.
Idiot stunt director.
But you could mention it again if you wanted to.
Just for anybody that didn't know, during the filming of the future 2015 courthouse scenes, the hoverboard chase that ends with Griffin and his gang crashing through the plate glass front of the courthouse, what is Courthouse Mall at that point. When that stunt was being filmed, the via a series of circumstances, with the stunt people not taking some proper precautions and some issues with other situations, the stunt woman playing the female gang member ended up hitting one of the columns on the front of the courthouse, and it was dropped directly onto her back and the back of her head from about 30, 40 feet in the air, and suffered severe injuries. She survived and is okay now, and she went back to doing stunt work, which that's impressive as hell. But she very nearly died from that stunt work, despite having repeatedly questioned the safety of this and whether this was going to work, and it was kind of a whole to do. Of course, obviously, back at the time with no internet, they were able to kind of keep that quiet. But that's the thing that happened.
Well, actually, it was the idiot stunt director, or the guy. I don't know if he was the director, but it was the stunt guy who was supposed to set off the pyros on the plate glass and all that stuff, and then cut the cables, because they were supposed to fly through the glass into the courthouse, and then the cables were going to cut in the courthouse when they were low enough, and they would just hit the ground, skid, whatever.
And they're going to land on an airbag.
Yeah, what happened was, and they had rehearsed it many, many times before, it was perfectly fine, but then the idiot with the remote control decided on the day of, you know what? I'm going to be an idiot, and I'm going to stand inside the courthouse instead of outside the courthouse like I've done many, many times before. He was like, no, I'll see you better from in there. She was like, no, you won't. She was like, look, I'm the stunt professional here. I'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'll see it from inside. He failed to take into account the plate glass. And when he was inside, he could not see outside the courthouse because of the reflection of the light through the plate glass and the translucency of the plate glass.
It should be noted for stunts like this, they don't use an actual glass. They use what's called a sugar glass. So it looks like real glass from a distance, but it shatters very easily, and it's not quite nearly as dangerous. And
what happened was they came in. The chick's rope failed, and she got stuck outside, so she didn't actually go all the way through like she was supposed to. The other two went through. When they hit that glass, because of the way that sugar glass shattered, it basically fractured like tempered glass would shatter, and because of that, that completely obscured his vision, so he couldn't tell that the chick was like 40 feet in the air. And he was like, well, the stunt's done. Click. Not knowing that she's dangling 40 feet in the air.
Yep.
Because he couldn't see through that cracked sugar glass.
Yeah, the combination of not being able to see through the glass and the fact that the shattered sugar glass was coming at him when it shattered, he couldn't get a good shot of what was going on to see that she was still outside. Because the reason that ended up happening in the first place is because they set up the stunt, they tried it a whole bunch of times, it worked perfectly, but they didn't have the sugar glass ready. And as a result, they had the stunt gimbals and everything had to be taken down because they needed to film other things on Courthouse Square during the next few days that it would take to get the sugar glass in. And when they reset it back up, the marks were slightly off, and that's why when she went forward, instead of sailing through and going through the glass, she hit one of the columns on the front of the courthouse. Her head smacked into the column, and she was padded, and that part didn't hurt her that much. But because she smacked into the column, she didn't go through the glass, and the guy inside had the shattering and couldn't see what was going on, and he hit the button, and she fell.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he stabbed her.
And then he stabbed her. And the prom's tomorrow.
I believe the follow-up to that was that she, fucking sued the shit out of him and stuff.
Well, yeah, she didn't want to because she really liked working there and liked the people, but they were workers' comp was paying her nowhere near enough to cover the medical bills for her injuries, and so she was forced to file a lawsuit against the studio, and they ended up settling it with her, I think, and they paid her what she needed to be taken care of. But she did end up going back to stunt work, and she used it as a lesson to tell me how to deal with proper stunt work and whatnot.
Yeah, which, two things I was going to say during that. A, I think everyone knows what sugar glass is nowadays.
Okay.
Only because
I didn't until I read this.
Oh, because I did, because it's been brought up in so many stuff, including like Mythbusters and stuff, because that's the type of glass bottles they used to smash over people's heads in films. That's like all stunt glass mostly. But also, B, I will say, that proves my point. One is better than Jim's because Jim's almost killed an innocent woman, and he's saying that woman's life means nothing compared to the first film. No, the first film's better because it didn't almost end that woman's poor life. Thank you. That's why you're wrong, Jim.
Fair enough.
Because that's what franchised is. It's about proving why Jim's wrong. Thank you and good night.
Sure.
I'm kidding. Obviously, the second one, like I said, I like the second one's better than the third.
Yeah.
And what's Pew's?
Yes, Pew.
Like I said, mine is like the first and the third. The movies. The second one seemed extra busy. The first one you said it's like super crazy timeless, but the third one I liked that they were in the Wild West, and they were always better when they did the past rather than the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because the past you get study and actually make it look like the past. The future, you kind of got to take a shot in the dark and hope they get it right.
Well, not like that, but like it's just you can do more with it because the future, like you don't have to worry about fucking it up because the future's not set in stone, but the past has like like shit has actual consequences.
I would argue the past, they actually get some time stuff wrong with the past as well. But with the future stuff they did in Back to the Future is actually inspired real world stuff. Like we now have the lace up boots and stuff. Which means the future stuff in Back to the Future created its own future.
Yeah, some of it did. That's why they released Pepsi Perfect this year.
Well, that and because they could easily do it for advertising. It was basically the same fucking drink, but in a bottle.
This is true.
That's less impressive than like the fact they actually worked on hoverboard technology, and we've now got like they sent Michael J. Fox those lace-up sneakers and stuff, which that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed, although I will say I'm very disappointed in the Cubs for not winning the World Series.
At least they made it to the World Series in 2015.
No, they made it to the playoffs.
Oh.
The World Series was the Royals and the Mets.
To be fair, they did alter the timeline.
True. I
believe in the original timeline, according to the Sports Almanac, when it opens up, if you see one of the pages, it says Seattle actually knows how to play football.
Ha ha ha!
Swish, Marcus, swish. I believe that's what you would call a home run.
Ah, nice.
Man, that goes into what I like about Back to the Future. Two things. One, the DeLorean. Let's get that out there. I love the DeLorean. It's fucking awesome. Two is just the smart writing. Aside from what I didn't like, which was the wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, the rest of it was just very smart writing. All the references, the jokes, even the future stuff.
It's not wibbly wobbly, whatever the hell you keep saying, because they actually explain it. We tell you they explain it. You're like, well, I didn't understand that. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and in Doctor Who, a lot of times they don't explain it.
For example, I don't understand algebra. Doesn't mean it's not a thing.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's very smart writing, and like we alluded to, a lot of the stuff they quote predicted unquote has come true, either because of it or it just happened to come true. Like Skype, who knew, right? They were like, wait, there's gonna be a video conferencing for 2050.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So there's the shoes, the hoverboard technology now. I mean, hell, we have car manufacturers now coming out with technology that can actually fuel cars with garbage. Who knew?
Mm-hmm. Mole's still waiting for his pizza hydrator.
Yeah. We have electric cars now.
Well, it's easy to fill cars with garbage. Just give someone from New York a license.
Yeah, I cleaned out my car yesterday.
We have fully electric cars now.
I was on about the people with garbage, Pew.
Oh, okay. Because literally, I did have a lot of shit ton of.
Yeah, no, I wasn't insulting you that way. I was insulting you in a whole different way.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I just I worked really hard yesterday to clean up my car. So let that be known.
Yeah, I was saying we have completely electric cars now thanks to Tesla. So a lot of what they wrote in as, this is what 2015 would be like to 1980s people. They weren't that far off. Now, I wish we had flying cars, but we don't. That's probably the one big thing that I wish we had, but maybe that and hoverboards. But hey, we're getting there with the hoverboards.
Indeed, we totally are.
And flying cars, we still wouldn't have
holodecks.
access to them.
And they've actually tried making flying cars in the past before.
Yeah, but they put like wings and stuff on it. It didn't work.
No,
It
I
wasn't
mean
great.
they tried making it hover and fly and stuff too, but they just can't get the technology right.
Yeah, it'll get there eventually. But
It's
Yeah,
like,
it'll
like
take some time.
it's like forget all that stuff. Even before Back to the Future, the one thing I want, jetpack.
yes. Yeah, they also predicted we'd have like holodecks, which we don't. Not even
There's
close.
no holodecks in Back to the Future.
Well, holographic movie.
I point
Close
to
enough.
you. I point you to E3 this year with Microsoft's HoloLens technology. You put it on and you see the holograms come alive in front of you.
Boom.
Fair
Or
enough.
I point you to the Michael Jackson experience where they got a hologram of that dead paedophile and made it dance for people's amusement. I'm possibly wording that in the wrong way.
Fair enough.
No, I think I worded that right. What do you think, Jim?
It's close enough.
It's close enough.
And then of course Jaws 15.
There's a trailer for that,
Of course there is.
and it's not 15. It's 19. Get your numbers
19. That was
To
close.
be fair, the spiritual successor to Jaws is Sharknado, and that has like a bajillion sharks in it anyway, so we've got to be up to 19.
right.
But the one thing they did get right with that is I can't remember who pointed it out. It might have been Michael J. Fox. I don't remember. But while Jaws promptly died out shortly after that, there have been franchises that did start in the 80s like Jaws that are still going now, so they kind of got that right, and that there would be franchises still going.
Yep.
That's not really a prediction, because there was franchises like James Bond that started before the 80s, that were still going in the 80s. That's not a prediction.
Yep. And then one prediction they made in Back to the Future, I think it was the first one. No, it might have been the second, because that's when they went into the future. But that actually did come true, as Michael J. Fox did point out, is they predicted that Marty would have a receding hairline, which Michael J. Fox in fact does.
Yep.
As he pointed out on, like, was he on like Conan or something? He like pulled it right. He was like, "Well, at least they got that right."
Also, fun fact for you, if you actually watch Back to the Future Part 2, you know, and then the future,
Yep.
look at the cinema, no joke, on the wall inside there is a poster for what looks like a load of females shooting ghosts.
Ha.
Take that for what you will.
Nice.
It's not there. It's not there, but yeah, fact.
Nice.
But yeah, the writing in the movies are very smart in terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
references and stuff.
Totally.
I like that. That made it fun.
It did.
It did. Okay, then. I think that's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for Franchise. Talk a little bit about Back to the Future.
Pleasure.
Stay tuned for some point next year, most likely, because we've got the holiday stuff coming up. But once Marcus Shadow and I both get it, we are going to review the Back to the Future 30th anniversary complete franchise collection. That includes the 3 movies, animated series, the book comes with it, all kinds of good stuff. The ride thing is on there, everything. We're going to review it all. And otherwise, welcome to the future. Thank you guys for joining me.
A pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yay!
Yes, Marcus, thank you for letting me host, and I hope your voice feels better.
I will say, out of the 3 franchises we've done, you're the best host.
Thank you.
Fuck you.
Mm.
No, shh. Save your voice, darling.
Mm. Save your voice for the Legos you conveniently need to build. All right. I'm James Phoenix. We'll see you next month. Do we have a franchise theme for next month, Marcus Shadow?
He said Jaws.
No, we're not doing Jaws. Besides, it'd be best first one, worst everything else.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
No,
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I don't know. I don't have a franchise yet. I'll let you know.
Okay, then. We'll announce what the franchise is coming up. And if you're a wrestling fan, don't forget to stay tuned in about an hour and a half for a little bit of X marks. We'll talk about something going. Yes?
Next month, I'm just going to throw it out there. Next month is Thanksgiving. Is it not in America?
No, this month is Thanksgiving.
Okay, this month's Thanksgiving, but next month's Christmas as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say to you guys, which is the same thing as Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas. What do you traditionally eat? What bird would you traditionally eat?
Well,
Anyone?
traditionally, people would eat turkey, but I don't.
Turkey. Okay, turkey. Isn't there a new Star Wars coming out in December as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, put the two together. Next month will be Turkish Star Wars. Thank you.
Nice.
Wow, that was such a stretch.
So's your pants after Thanksgiving.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Next month we could do Star Wars.
Best, everything that was the EU. Worst, not the EU.
There you go.
I.e. fuck Disney.
Yeah.
We'll
see.
do that anyway.
All right. We'll see, folks. See you next time.